Welcome to the Illinois LawCast, a podcast about the wisdom, wit, and curiosity of the University of Illinois College of Law. I'm your host, Chris Davies, and my guest in this episode is Jolynn Caroline. This summer, Jolynn was named the College of Law's Senior Director for Inclusive Excellence, Career Planning, and Professional Development. Though many people will already be familiar with her from her time working in the Careers Office, they may not be aware how deep her connections to Illinois go. As we discussed, Jolynn's parents met on campus. She is a double Illini, earning her undergraduate degree in community health and her JD in 2002, and she has committed the last 18 years to helping law students find the careers they want. We talked about her new role and her goals for that, as well as how her connections to the university ground her and help her guide our students to the best education and legal careers possible. Thank you for listening. Here's my interview with Jolynn Caroline. Jolynn, thank you for joining me for this podcast.
My pleasure.
Your story has Illinois all the way back at the beginning. So I was wondering if you could start way back when your parents met and tell us a little bit how Illinois connects to you and your life.
Sure, absolutely. So as you shared, my parents, they're both from the South, but they met here at the University of Illinois campus. My mother was a student. My father was here playing football. So truly without the University of Illinois, I wouldn't exist. So I owe the University of Illinois quite a bit. But yeah, I feel that the University of Illinois, not just my parents meeting here, but growing up here in the Champaign-Urbana community, played a really pivotal role in what I'm doing now, my joy and love of education and academia. I think when I was younger, I didn't really quite appreciate having one of the best premier research universities in the world just steps away from the house. But as I grew older, the ability to be a high school student and working in like a lab on a campus and being able to work with scientists and professors as an elementary and middle school student, I think really was a unique opportunity. And not to mention the wide variety of people from different backgrounds and different countries. Just from a very young age, having wide, broad cultural exposure, I think really shaped me to the person who I am today.
Yeah. And you mentioned that maybe you didn't appreciate University of Illinois, but when you grow up, your dad played football here and didn't just play football. It was an All-American and went on to great success in the NFL as well. Did that maybe play a role, some youthful rebellion against the University of Illinois?
Not at all. I was always a fan of the University of Illinois. Now, I didn't appreciate that my dad was famous or had any notoriety. I just felt, sure, when you go places, everyone's excited to see your dad, and everyone's dad gets asked for pictures or autographs. So that to me wasn't unusual. But no, I always appreciated being part of the orange and blue family. So there was never any rebellion against that, but there were certain things that were instilled. Like there were certain, like schools that I wasn't going to apply to. Why? Because, I'm an Illini. So, but yeah, there was never a rebellion or anything like that. Like everyone in my family is tied to the University of Illinois. I don't want to be a part of it. It was always very positive opinions and perspectives about the university.
And his legacy, obviously, as a kid, you didn't fully appreciate, but now as an adult, you do. And not only an All-American, he was a coach here as well. Yes. What does that legacy that he left behind mean to you?
Sure. I feel that the legacy is twofold. Of course, when I walk around campus and you see like pictures, you see trophies and awards, that's always something that is very special and meaningful to me. But what I really love the most about my father's legacy is when I meet people who interacted with him, his former players or teammates, and even some of his former students, at Urbana, and they always talk about the way that he treated them, that he was always very respectful, but genuinely wanted to get to know someone in an authentic, genuine level, and it was not just lip service. Additionally, I feel that the other side of his legacy, the sports, the athleticism, I grew up in a family where we were never afraid of competition. We love to challenge. We love to be pushed outside of our comfort zone. And of course, there's always about, the sportsmanship aspect as well. But definitely, if we were going to do something, you bring your A game, whether that's on the field, in the classroom, any task that you undertake, you are expected to bring your A game and to give it your all. Like, there's no need to hold back. Go for it. And that is something that I know drove my dad on the field. And it also is something that drives me in my career and my daily aspirations and goals.
Yeah, you've given your all to the university. You're double Illini.
Yes, I am. Proud.
Proud. I'm glad to hear that. When you were going to school here, you made the choice to come here as an undergrad. What made you then want to go on and get a law degree?
Sure. There were, other law schools. However, the University of Illinois was definitely my premier and first choice for several reasons. First, I knew that being here, this is a true campus town, so there were a lot of resources and support for someone who is really looking to buckle down, get wonderful hands-on experiences, but also really take a deep dive and learn the law. I liked the idea that my professors would be in the building. I did look at and visit some schools, law schools, great schools that were in the city in Chicago. But when I walked around, I noticed that a lot of the professor doors were closed, or after class, they were leaving the building and going to their jobs or going to their homes. Here at Illinois, the professors are here in the building, and I liked that open door policy. In addition to that, when you look at the cost of living and, you look at the tuition, the cost of living here, it really was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah. And then you started your career in law. What was your area of expertise? What were you working on when you left law school?
So the very first practice group I joined was aviation construction litigation. I don't know how to fly a plane. I don't know how to build or construct a building. But the funny thing is that the entire practice group were comprised of double Illini, people who had gone to the University of Illinois for undergrad and law school. So they really got me off to a great start with respect to how to be a successful and efficient litigator. But where I really ended up specializing and found my true passion was in labor and employment law, which kind of, dovetails nicely with what I'm doing now with respect to inclusivity, belonging, and looking at compliance issues and so forth like that.
Right. What you're doing now, you've been here at the university for 18 years?
18 years. I started when I was 10, of course.
Of course. What brought you back? What made you want to join our careers office?
Sure. So oddly enough, when I was a second-year law student, I used to stay at the first table in the library, and classmates would come up to me with their resumes and cover letters and ask for feedback. I was like a law review notes editor nerd, so I loved editing work and so forth. And as I went on to practice, something that I really enjoyed was mentoring summer associates, participating as part of the interview team for entry levels and lateral hires. And at a certain point in the career, you're either going full steam ahead towards partnership, or if you want to do something different, it's kind of like now is the time to entertain something different. And I knew that I enjoyed working with students, assisting people with preparing for their careers, especially for those who maybe you're the first in your family to go to law school and you can't ask your mom isn't a judge, your dad isn't a partner, and you really don't have anyone who can kind of bridge that gap of information. And I really enjoyed being that person. So when the opportunity arose here at the University of Illinois, where better to do it than at the university that I love so dearly, my hometown, and also at a university that I think is always on the cutting edge and looking for ways to grow and improve. And that is something that, I love, is we're not just going to rest on our laurels, but we're always looking for ways to evaluate what we're doing well, if there are any ways that we can improve, and then going on to look for tangible ways to make those improvements.
When you talked about your dad and his attitude, giving it all, but also making sure that he made a connection with individuals, that sounds a lot like what I've heard people describe you and your role as, that you really make a connection, that you're their person from day one, and you follow through and help them get the careers they want. What does that mean to you, and how do you use the lessons from your dad in your job now?
Sure. So first off, I'm highly flattered that people have those wonderful, nice things to say about me. I definitely feel that I inherited my father's work ethic, but also in order to do this job and to do it well, you can't really give canned advice to everyone because everyone's different and unique. They have different backgrounds, different challenges, different goals, short-term and long-term goals. And so I feel that in order for me to be successful, before I start giving out advice, I first ask questions to learn as much as I can about that person. And then we kind of start building together. And I view myself, and I tell this to a lot of my students, I don't really come to you as a counselor, a guru. I know everything about every practice of law and every geographic market, but I come in as a teammate and sometimes as a coach to kind of push you, but definitely as a teammate. We're going to work towards that goal together. And so it's really important for me to get to know them well so that I can, know when to push them. For those who need a push, not everybody needs a push. Some people need, a cheering section. And some people, I can do it. I just need you to check in every now and then. And I definitely feel that that was an approach that I picked up from my father, because as a coach, all of your teammates, all the players are going to be different and have different backgrounds. They're playing different positions. They have different goals, different interests. And in order to really get that person's buy-in to you can reach this goal, you have to kind of really get to know them and what's going to motivate them and what is going to inspire them.
How do you now take this new role that you've been given, that our Dean, Jamel Sharp, has named you as the, I'm going to get this right.
It's a long title.
It is a long title, and I wrote it, here we go. Senior Director for Inclusive Excellence, Career Planning, and Professional Development.
Yes.
So how do you take what you've done in your past 18 years here and kind of dovetail that with this new role, focusing on inclusive excellence?
Sure. I feel that in the past 18 years, under the, I would say under the radar, I've always had my hand in inclusivity and promoting belonging here at the College of Law, with being, I guess, making myself available to students if they have concerns about things, questions about my experiences as a lawyer, as a law student. And that varies from being a woman of color or first generation or, identifying as a woman, whatever it is. And so I think that just making myself available and open about my own experiences, but also having that curiosity to learn about others, is something that I've always had. And I feel that it really serves well because it's a nice complement to inclusiveness and belonging, because how do you make someone feel included if you don't bother to get to know them and their authentic selves, and welcoming them just as they are and not trying to change them or make them transform to fit in a mold, but really just appreciating who they are and what they're offering and supporting them as they continue to grow professionally and personally and discover themselves. I like the fact that with the inclusion and belonging aspect, the inclusive excellence, I'm now also getting an opportunity to work even more closely with a larger student body. As a career planning counselor, I work with just like a smaller group of students where I'm working with them from the time they get in to graduation and sometimes beyond. But that's just maybe like a third or so of the student who are here in the JD program. However, now with inclusiveness, I get to work with students who they're not assigned to me as a career counselor, or maybe they are a master's student. I have the opportunity to work with student groups and also to collaborate with people on main campus. The College of Law, I really feel that you can get really cozy here because everything is here that we need. But it is nice to understand that we have a wide varied campus that offers multiple resources and opportunities for collaboration, partnership, and support. And having the opportunity to meet and partner with some wonderful people on our main campus, our sister campuses as well, really excites me. And then last but not least, something I'm really eager to start with this new position is being able to do outreach to undergraduate students and prospective students, because I feel that it's exciting to see that first spark of, I think I want to go to law school, I'm not sure, and to really be able to assist them with making that decision, if law school is going to be right for them, but also for the undergraduate student organizations, getting them paired with our current law students, because I can, of course, speak to my experience as a law student, but that was 20 years ago. So long enough. But especially getting our current law students engaged and active with, telling undergraduate students and prospective students why the College of Law is a great place to be and why it's an exciting time to be a part of the College of Law family. And so I'm excited about the College of Law, the changes and the initiatives that Dean Jamel Sharp has implemented. And I think it's a really exciting time to be here. And when you're excited about something, you want other people to also be equally excited. And it gives me that opportunity and a platform for that type of outreach.
DEI in general can be a little divisive for some people. And there was Supreme Court cases about admissions and using race. So are there any things that you might consider misunderstandings about your role, or maybe something that someone might assume about this new title that you don't agree with or would like to set straight?
Sure. So a few things that I think are misconceptions. The first thing is the definition of diversity. And I think a lot of times people initially think about visual forms of diversity, but with inclusion, and that's why I love that this is called inclusive excellence, because everyone's included. Whether you consider yourself to be diverse or not, your perspective, your background, everything, you bring a diverse, a new, a novel perspective to the College of Law, and we need that voice. And so I don't want people to feel that inclusiveness implies that certain groups would be excluded. In fact, we want quite the opposite. We want everyone to feel that I can bring my authentic, genuine self to the College of Law. I can be heard, I can be supported, and that having a different perspective is actually going to help improve the academic experience of my colleagues. Because if everyone here agrees with everyone, it's like the court. If every justice on a court agrees and everything is like 9-0, 9-0, everyone agrees, there's not movement, there's not growth, and you grow and develop, and I believe that you have a more robust academic experience if some of your beliefs are challenged or just expanded. And even if you don't change your mind about particular things, at least you've heard a different perspective. And the aspect of inclusion and belonging, that gives you professional skills that will make you marketable in the employment, whether you decide to go into the legal industry or someplace else. The ability to be a flexible and effective communicator, regardless of the audience, to be an effective teammate. In order to be an effective teammate, you have to have the ability to include others who maybe don't think like you, don't look like you, come from different backgrounds, but they still have a value add. In addition to that, other professional skills that you can acquire would be leadership. We want our students here to not just be followers. We believe every student that we admit has what it takes to be a leader in this world. And we want leaders who are not just going to push their agenda onto others, but are going to be a part of a team, to listen, to be an attentive listener, because the results have shown in statistics, in business journals and so forth, when you look at the most successful companies, they have diverse workforces, and not just the visual diversity, but you have different mindsets, different universities, different undergrad majors. All of that is coming to bear. And so that is something I want to make clear, that inclusiveness means we want to include everyone, and it's not intended to exclude anyone. And the excellence, we want to be excellent at making people feel that they are included and they belong here.
When you're talking about inclusion, your job is obviously current student focused, prospective students perhaps. What about the people who have worked with you in the past in career services and, as alumni, maybe they're 3Ls now? How does your role change? What is the opportunity for those people to work with you?
Sure. So the students who I'm currently working with, they can't get rid of me that quickly. I'm still assigned to them. I'm very much still a career counselor, so that won't change. Also, I've had alumni who've reached out to me if they need assistance with respect to, I'm looking to maybe transition into another position, or I'm looking to relocate. Maybe my partner has a job on the West Coast. I need assistance. I'm still available for that. So that hasn't gone away. It's just this and also that. So certainly those relationships won't change. In fact, if anything, I've seen those relationships expand, because now they view me as a point person, where if they need assistance with finding panelists for a program, or finding, a particular alum, or speaker, as well as if they just have things, that they want to run by me, having a point person to address any concerns, interest, or needs, I feel that provides an additional layer of support. And actually, I think it enhances and deepens that relationship that I've already had.
That's great. What would you say, if you had to really narrow it down, one or two things that are your primary goals as this new Senior Director of Inclusive Excellence?
Yeah, this one's going to be tough to just narrow it down to two things. I think if I have to narrow it down to two, the first would be to do whatever I can to ensure that we have a broad pool of talented students coming to the College of Law, considering the College of Law, and literally scouring the universe to find them. Well, maybe not the universe, just on this planet, but really looking for a wide array of talented students, whether you're, on a farm in, like Paxton, we want to find you. If you are at, a big city school in New York, we want to find you. We want to really find the best and brightest minds that are available, and we want them to consider the University of Illinois. And so whatever I can do with respect to traveling, outreach, engagement with pre-law advisors, student groups, and organizations, I would like to do that to, ensure that we continue to have the best and brightest legal minds. The second would be ensuring that the students who are here in the building, those who are coming in, our alumni, and also faculty and staff, I want everyone to feel that inclusion and belonging is not Jolynn's job exclusively. I will serve as a quarterback, and kind of like, I'll kind of ring the bell, but one person can't make an environment inclusive. It's an all team, all hands on deck. Everyone is going to play a role. And it's a matter of doing what I can to make sure that people understand that I'm not the diversity police or anything like that, but I'm really looking for the buy-in. And everyone here has been so great with, the enthusiasm, the excitement, willing, and the eagerness to partner and collaborate with anything inclusive excellence related has been incredibly exciting. But definitely that would be one of the initiatives, is just to ensure that people understand when I mean everyone being included, everyone top down is included, not just as recipients of inclusive excellence, but also as active participants in the inclusive excellence program.
Those are excellent goals, and I can certainly see how that might create a legacy here, similar to what your father has. If in hopefully a long time from now, when you're ready to step away, we're looking back on your career here, and maybe there's, like, your father has a plaque outside of Memorial Stadium.
Yes.
What would be your legacy that you hope to leave behind? What's going to go on the Jolynn Caroline plaque?
I don't know that I feel that I want a plaque.
The metaphorical one, then.
Sure. I would hope that the legacy that I would leave behind is that people that come in contact with me, whether they are students, faculty, alumni, prospective students, whether they choose Illinois or not, I would like for the legacy to be that she genuinely cared about me as a person and making the right decision for myself. And also that she worked incredibly hard to ensure that people who come here, who come through these doors, feel like they belong, that people care about them, their perspectives, what they have to offer, their background, who genuinely wants to get to know them and not just to meet a quota or fill out a piece of paper or just stick you in a job or anything like that, but someone who genuinely cares about you as a person and your personal and professional goals. So I would hope that that would be a legacy. And also, I hope that I would be remembered as someone who was willing to champion on behalf of others. If there are needs that students have, if there are concerns that they have, I would like to be known as someone who they felt comfortable in reaching out and knowing that I will do my very best to make sure that if I don't have an answer, that I will track down an answer for them. That if you bring me a problem, I'm going to work really, really hard to resolve that problem and to establish a long-standing solution to a problem that you bring me. I hope that that would be the legacy that I would leave behind. And also that, that this starts with me, but I hope that it catches fire where, beyond the walls of the College of Law, that we are so on fire about being a part of the community, not just in the building, but in the community, on campus, that everyone's like, what are they doing over there at the College of Law? And that we just generally seem like an awesome place to work and study.
Excellent. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you think would be important to note about your new role, about your continuing role within the careers department, about yourself even?
I feel you've covered everything, but before we wrap up, I would like to take time to thank all of the students, faculty, and staff for making themselves available to speak, their willingness to share through the listening sessions I conducted earlier this year. And of course, also a special thank you to our alumni, shareholders, donors, and those who've already shown tremendous support for the Inclusive Excellence initiatives. And I think that's it, but just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that I was incredibly grateful for all of the support that we've received so far, because truly this is more than just a one-person job.
I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you so much.
That was Jolynn Caroline, Senior Director for Inclusive Excellence, Career Planning, and Professional Development, speaking about her new role and the visions she sees for making Illinois law a more inclusive and welcoming place for everyone. Thank you to Jolynn for taking the time to be part of this episode and sharing her wisdom. On behalf of everyone at the College of Law, I'd like to extend gratitude for all the hard work that you do. Thank you also to our listeners. We appreciate you and hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you have any comments or suggestions for the podcast, please email us at podcast@law.illinois.edu. The Illinois LawCast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major podcast providers, and video episodes are streaming on YouTube. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so that you can be notified when new episodes are published. This episode was recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Chris Davies. Special thanks to Kelly Moss for our album art and other graphics, and Krista Getke for her help in the editing process. Until next time, thanks again for listening to the Illinois LawCast.